Ever since 2016, when a bunch of pesky scientists at CERN switched on their Large Hadron Collider and caused loads of celebrities to die, life has steadily been going down the crapper. But listen, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so sure, we may have been catapulted into the bad timeline for the last few years, but perhaps life will take a turn for the better, now that we've reached a quarter past a century. Now, I'm no psychic, so your guess is as good as mine as to how this year will actually go, but I do like playing video games, and it just so turns out that a fair few titles have tried to guess what 2025 will be like. But just how accurate will their predictions be? Join me, Eurogamer's Ian Higton, as I consult 9 video games set in 2025 to see what's in store for humanity now that Big Ben's bonging bells have booted out the ball bag of a year that was 2024.
Aside from the one set in space, the one where people use exoskeletons to run along walls, and the game modes in which zombies pop up, the storylines in the Call of Duty series have always taken inspiration from real-life events, albeit with plenty of fictional twists and turns here and there to spice up the plots and gameplay. Half of 2012's Black Ops 2, for example, is set in the 80s, during the First Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States, while its other half, the RTS-style Strike Force missions, are set in the then future, which is now the now.
Eagle down! That's a kill!
In what might be one of the most accurate predictions on this list, the 2025 section of Black Ops 2 is set during a second Cold War, which, depending on who you ask, is something that is actually already happening. Although in Black Ops 2 it's mainly the US and China who are butting heads, rather than in our reality where the US and Russia are currently doing the majority of the arguing.
While we have seen a widespread use of drone combat in Russia's current invasion of Ukraine, something that would seem pretty futuristic if you told people from 2012 about it, Black Ops' Strike Force missions take things a step further, giving the player control over not only UAVs and jet fighters, but robots too. These cognitive land assault weapons, or claws for short, aren't your traditional-looking robots, mind. They're more like massive, remote-controlled murder dogs. We do kind of have these things already, though, as they're basically a more lethal, roided-up version of the prototype Ghost Robotics dog that the US Army was testing last year. But what we definitely don't have yet are these fancy holographic tables, so hopefully they've just been announced at this year's CES.
Chairman Giles, squeezing Russia's balls real tight. Commander.
There's been a lot of talk about UAP disclosure lately, but aside from some second-hand witness testimony in Congress and a handful of grainy videos to go by, we've still had no solid, undeniable proof that aliens have been visiting our planet. I mean, this here could be anything, really. Yes, it could be a fast-moving alien spacecraft or an experimental plane from an enemy territory, but it could also just be a weather balloon floating just above the sea that looks like it's going really fast due to the speed of the plane recording the footage and the perspective caused by the distances between the sea, the plane, and the object itself. Whatever these things are, though, I think we can all agree that they are absolutely not giant ants. But according to 2013's Earth Defense Force 2025, an impending invasion of immense insects is exactly what's in store for us this year.
Now, I've already covered an Earth Defense Force game in a previous year's predictions video, 2022's to be exact, but in the 3 years since, the only major insect problem that I've had is a red ant nest in my back garden that's really f***ing up my lawn. Bastards.
So, while I think we can safely discount EDF 2025's prediction of skyscraper-straddling spiders and bus-sized ants being dropped onto Japan by huge floating space fortresses, I would absolutely welcome the wacky TV shows predicted in its 2013 launch trailer.
We have used and new vehicles ready to go. I'm going crazy just thinking about these prices.
I wish I wasn't colorblind. Crap!
That's not all. Order now. A forecast.
Got it!
Huh? That's our Lenny!
Limpet Lenny will be back right after these messages.
God bless Segagaga. This absolutely bonkers role-playing simulation game from 2001 dared to dream that in 2025 the Dreamcast would be so popular that Sega would be producing and shipping 1 million of the consoles every single day. In reality, however, the Dreamcast was actually discontinued literally 2 days after the Japanese release of Segagaga, making this probably the worst prediction on this list.
And that's taking EDF's giant invading ants into account too.
Described as a Sega simulation game, in Segagaga you need to stop Sega from losing the console market by fighting and doing tasks for various employees who have been turned into weird mutants due to the stress and crunch of game development. The game itself is set in this towering Sega HQ, and it mixes anime-style cutscenes and wacky 2D sprites with 3D RPG-style gameplay and even, occasionally, some live-action puppetry to create a truly unique experience. Whilst the game's tongue-in-cheek predictions of the Dreamcast's global success definitely didn't come to pass, much of the game development satire found within, especially regarding how big game studios treat their workers, still rings true to this day. You can't just delete your staff? Tell that to 2023 and 2024, my friend. Sheesh.
Stick to it and believe in your power.
Gley Lancer here is a fairly obscure side-scrolling shoot-'em-up for the Sega Mega Drive that was released in Japan in 1992. Its focus on arcade action during the main bulk of the gameplay means that, lore-wise, it's a bit light on the details, but I can already tell by its short intro cutscene that its 2025 predictions might have missed the mark by quite a wide margin.
For a start, it reckons that, by now, the Earth will have unified and created its own fleet of spacefaring battleships, while, in our reality, we're all actually just sitting here watching other countries blow each other up on social media.
Anyway, away from our depressing reality, in Gley Lancer's 2025, the human race is at war with an unknown alien army that consists of huge imposing spaceships, weird cybernetic testicle sacs that fire angry sperms, and, for some reason, this cross-legged, self-cloning, six-armed space lady who floats around with her boobs out. All of this sounds pretty far-fetched and unlikely, but aesthetically I'm well up for the game's 2025 fashion predictions, which include epic high-collared capes and massive metallic shoulder pads.
Honestly, if I can't head down to my local TK Maxx at some point in the summer to pick up one of those capey bad boys, I will be severely disappointed.
I'm not too sure about the design of the Gley Lancer though. I mean, this thing looks like something you'd order from Love Honey when a sale's on. I wonder how many vibration settings it's got. If you hate both ladders and creepy children, then boy do I have some bad news for you. That's right, 2025 is the year in which 2005's seminal sci-fi scare-em-up F.E.A.R is set, and according to its perfectly paranormal plotlines, that means that 2025 is going to be both the year of brutal child-induced jump scares and the unveiling of a small army of military clones.
Begun. The Clone War has.
No, not those ones. These ones are special psychically led clones called replicas who are being puppeteered by a rogue psychic operative named Paxton Fettel.
Paxton has a bit of a bee in his bonnet about being the offspring of a female psychic who was experimented on when she was only 8 years old, which, to be fair, seems pretty understandable. Until the 30-second time that the psychic ghost girl makes you crap your pants after a super cool slow-mo shootout, that is. Now, allegedly, this is all going to take place in a fictional American city called Fairport. But, according to Google Maps, there is actually a town called Fairport located in the middle of New York. So, if you're watching this video and are currently living there, you might want to consider moving house ASAP, just in case this happens. Impossible Mission 2025 is a double-hard, side-scrolling action platformer from Microprose that released on the Amiga CD32 back in the 90s, and, according to its manual, this year we can expect an evil professor called Elvin Atombender to hack key military computer installations of every major world power in an attempt to trigger a missile attack that will destroy the world.
Huh. Seems a bit extreme. I mean, where's Elvin gonna live once he's blown the world up? Well, okay, I guess Swindon won't change too much, so maybe there?
In order to stop Elvin, players must choose from 3 far-fetched characters in order to infiltrate his stronghold, which seems to be located in the brownest city since Morrowind's Balmora. There's Ram 2, a humanoid robot made out of a T-1000 style metal that can shift between solid and liquid states, which definitely doesn't exist yet. Then we have Tasha, a cybernetically augmented gymnast with a PhD who probably wouldn't be out of place in the Deus Ex universe, but definitely would be here. And then there's Felix Fly, who seems like a normal enough guy at first, until that is, you notice the fact that he was able to retire at the age of 32.
I mean, there is no way that is happening in 2025, that's for sure. And the way things are going in the UK right now, I expect that I'll be working until I die. And you can't really get more dystopian future than that.
Unbelievably then, the most accurate prediction that this game has made about 2025 was actually about the name of the villain himself, because when I searched Facebook, there were actually a bunch of Elvin Atombenders on there. Now all we need to do is work out which one of these lot owns a stronghold.
Moonbase Alpha, this is Research Team Beta. Over.
Copy that, Beta. Go ahead.
According to Moonbase Alpha, a free simulation game from 2010 that was made in conjunction with NASA, humans should be living on the moon by now. Or at very least, we should have built ourselves a self-sustaining lunar base on the Shackleton crater near the moon's south pole.
Sadly, NASA from the past seems to have severely overestimated NASA of the now, because at the time of making this video, it has been about 53 years since any human being has set foot on the moon.
Now, this is obviously a disappointing revelation for fans of accurate predictions, but it'll also probably come as a bit of a relief to any budding space explorers out there who are fans of breathing, because after Moonbase Alpha gets badly damaged by a meteor impact, the base's inhabitants need to hurry to repair the base before all of the oxygen runs out. Success means that the astronauts can then continue their lunar research in peace, whilst failure presumably means choosing between slowly suffocating to death in your suit or pulling your helmet off and dying instantly as your frozen eyeballs pop out of your head and float off into space.
Copy that, en route.
Welcome to Aurora, the incubator of World 2.0. My name's Jay Skell, and we've been expecting you.
As the most recently released game on this list, the writers of 2019's Ghost Recon Breakpoint didn't have to imagine too far into the future in order to come up with the plot for this game, and it echoes reality in a scarily close way.
Away from the rest of the world, we will build the tools to lead the planet into the future.
All I need to say really is that it features a billionaire entrepreneur and philanthropist who's caught up in a shadowy scheme that, if pulled off, will trigger the start of World War III, and you'll probably get the picture.
Thank you for joining Skeltech and Aurora.
Although, unlike in our world, the billionaire entrepreneur in Breakpoint, 1, isn't actually one of the bad guys, and 2, he's also not an insanely childish bellend.
And finally, say hello to Undercover AD2025 Kei, an 80s action movie style 3D shooter game for the Dreamcast that was released in Japan in the year 2000. It stars a cop called Kei who, along with her partner, who I'm very happy to say is also her lover, is on the trail of a band of terrorists who have thrown the mayor out of a hotel window. But will this HR nightmare of a team be able to stop them before more innocents get killed? Oh, well, judging by the hotel housekeeper on the floor here, I'm guessing not.
But anyway, what did the developers of this relatively unknown game imagine life to be like 25 years down the line?
Well, going by the gameplay on show, everything in their vision of the future looks basically exactly the same as it does now, which is pretty much spot on, to be honest, aside from the fact that there's not one mobile phone in sight. The streets are pretty much the same as they are nowadays. The hotel interiors look like normal nowadays hotel interiors. The guns look like standard real-life guns from the present day, and even the fashion wouldn't look out of place in 2025.
Honestly, that simple jeans and t-shirt combo will never go out of style. I mean, it's what I would be wearing right now if it wasn't as cold as balls in here. Bloody January.
There is one big difference between Kei's world and 2025 though, and it's a prediction that I desperately want to come to pass. And that is the fact that Kei is also accompanied by a robot cat. Now listen, 2025, I'm not asking for much, but if you can sort us all out some robo-cat companions, then you, my friend, will be the best year ever.
And that, my friends, is 2025 according to video games. Sure, they reckon it'll be full of aliens, wars, deadly robots, and little girls who'll jump scare you until you poop your pants, but at least there's robot cats and Dreamcast consoles to look forward to, eh? Either way, here's hoping that the real 2025 will be a lot better than these games have predicted. But if it isn't, don't worry, Zoe, Jim and I will be around to take your mind off things for as long as we possibly can. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe for more from Eurogamer in 2025, and do have a great new year. Goodbye.